Man, I gotta tell you guys, I love the deadline day. I really, really do. This Duncan McGuire deal, it's so much fun. I love it. What a great opportunity. Things are very nice. All right, what's going on? What's up, everybody? A little deadline day edition of Latest I'm Hearing. We're going to talk about Duncan McGuire, of course, yet again. What an absolutely insane story. We've got some incoming MLS signings and whatever else that is going through my brain and my Twitter fingers on deadline day here. Going to be a bunch of short fire updates. I'm sure my melted brain right now from not blinking for 28 hours and responding to about 1,000 texts and calls. I'm sure that this won't be the most poetic content in the world. It'll probably be straightforward, a little scatterbrain, but we're going to go on this adventure together. Let's start with Duncan McGuire to Blackburn Rovers. This story is insane. The latest at time of recording, with about 5 hours left before the transfer window closes, Duncan McGuire is in Blackburn doing his medical. An original deal was agreed by Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning. Wednesday morning, Orlando gave Duncan McGuire authorization to fly to England to complete this move. Wednesday afternoon, while he was on the flight, Blackburn reached out to Orlando and said, "We have to pull out of negotiations. I'm sorry." Duncan McGuire was still on his way to England, aware of everything that was going on, still flying, trying to figure out if they could find a move somewhere else on deadline day. The morning of deadline day, Blackburn reaches out to Orlando and says, hey, we just got $22 million for the wonderkid to Crystal Palace. Do you think that maybe we could talk about Duncan McGuire again? And Orlando and Duncan McGuire's agents, to their credit, didn't hang up the phone and say, F off, we don't trust you, which I might have been inclined to do. And they started talking a deal again. Blackburn could only do a loan with a purchase option now, so it's a completely new deal, new negotiations. And guess what? For wasting our time, the prices are going up. So Orlando and Blackburn eventually agreed to a loan fee of about $700,000 US with a purchase option of around $7 million US. So it covers Orlando's bases. They get $700,000 no matter what happens. And that's money that they can put towards new signings. They can convert it to allocation money if they want, which I'm assuming that they're going to do. That's crucial. They needed money up front. It gives them a higher purchase option on the back end to make more than the original deal, which was close to $4 million plus add-ons that would have taken it up to like $6.5 million. So Orlando are getting a better deal out of this because of the delay, because of them getting dicked around, right? So this is really good. And for Blackburn's sake, while they have to fork out this loan fee, it means if things don't work out with McGuire and Blackburn, they can kind of wipe their hands and say, on to the next one. McGuire would come back to Orlando. This deal is really interesting because, again, Sheffield Wednesday were pushing again when Blackburn were off and like trying to get the deal done, right? There were some other clubs in England in the championship. Plymouth Argyle kind of made a run. There were some other teams that at least put in a couple phone calls to see what might be possible. But Orlando's position this entire time was, we're not looking to sell Duncan McGuire. We're not trying to get rid of him. We understand that he wants the move. He wants a big pay raise. He made $77,000 US last year. He's going to be making much more than that at Blackburn if this deal does get through and they don't pull out again at the last second. But that's kind of Orlando's position. They were in a strong spot. They didn't need to do it. They wanted to. I mean, they didn't need to. They wanted to keep him. They were happy for the player. And now he's going to Blackburn on loan, again, unless Blackburn's ownership, again, decides to step in and say, never mind, which would be particularly cruel. So that's the big domino to come on deadline day. Sell Karol Swiderski to... I gotta take this. Sorry. The other big outgoing deal, Karol Swiderski to Hellas Verona. That call, that is somewhere in this video that I edited because I'm super good at editing. That was the confirmation that Karol Swiderski to Hellas Verona is done. It'll probably be announced by the time this video goes up because I'm actually not that good at editing and I'm not going to be that quick. The deal is a loan with a purchase option. The purchase option is automatically triggered if Hellas Verona stay in Serie A. It is still an option if they get relegated, if they still want to buy him. So we'll see what happens there. But Karol Swiderski to Hellas Verona is done. Relegation. They're currently in, I believe, 17th, but they're tied on points for the relegation zone. So it's a key signing for them. They need to get this done, and they need Karol to be performing immediately. The deal, I don't know for a fact if it does or doesn't open a DP spot. My assumption was that it didn't, just because of previous deals. The way that this works in MLS and the difficult rules is that it depends on the transfer fee, how long the player has been at the club, and the salary coverage of the loan. So if Charlotte are getting a loan fee and Hellas Verona are covering enough of their salary, it could open a DP spot. But again, that's not going to be completely determined until this deal is done. The Charlotte sporting department are confident that it will open a DP spot. But that's something to keep an eye on. Swiderski has been Charlotte's best player over their first 2 seasons. He's made no attempt to hide the fact that he wants to get back to Europe at some point. You can't blame him, Poland International, everything. This makes a lot of sense. It'd be a little awkward if this happens and then Verona get relegated, because then we'll go through this all over again in the summer. But that is what it is. That's a problem for another day if it happens. But closes another Charlotte outgoing deal, and one that absolutely will open a DP spot if indeed it gets done and finalized. Camille Jozwiak is finalizing a deal to Granada towards the bottom of the Spanish league table. Jozwiak straight up just hasn't worked out. Just been one of those signings that didn't work out in MLS. He's a DP, Poland International. He struggled with some injuries, struggled with some inconsistencies, and it's time for all parties to move on. Jozwiak hasn't been with the team in preseason, as all parties were looking for a transfer abroad. Last I heard was that a race against the clock just for the transfer window in Spain. Everything's agreed, paperwork filed, all that good stuff is all set. So I'm expecting both of these deals to get done. But I have to be boring and just say this. So again, Jozwiak would open a DP spot 100%. And with that DP spot being open, the club can open up a couple more U22 initiative slots. That means automatically young Serbian international Nikola Pekovic, who was with the second team last year after a $3 million transfer, is going to be in the first team. I have really high hopes for him. He seems like a really good player, central midfielder. And then they can add a young DP and then another U22 initiative player if they so desire, which I do believe they do. What's important for Charlotte, and it came late for both of these players, but what was important for Charlotte, they cannot make significant additions before at least one, if not both of these players depart because of their restrictions with the salary cap and the DP spot. So these 2 deals, particularly the Jozwiak one, was absolutely crucial to what Charlotte want to do this offseason, and it looks like it's going to get done on deadline day. Well done by them. All right, on the incoming side, which again, let me do a friendly reminder, I stress that the transfer window deadline day closing only matters in the country of the buying club. So it's deadline day in Italy, England, Spain, all the above. It's deadline day and transfer windows view it as a registration thing. You can only register new players during this time. So English clubs tomorrow can sell to MLS clubs because the MLS transfer window is open until mid-April. So MLS clubs can do deals, doesn't matter until mid-April, right? So just keep that in mind. So these following deals have no urgency, no timetable, no nothing. But we do have some incomings. We'll start with Orlando because why the hell not? Orlando and Blackburn intertwined once again. Orlando City agreed a $2.5 million deal to sign Slovenian international center back David Brekalo from Viking, something like that, in Norway. Blackburn tried to hijack this deal at the last minute. They failed. Orlando have agreed to terms for all parties, just need to finalize the deal. That's a big signing for Orlando. Again, he's a center back. He would be a starter. He's probably going to play the Euros for Slovenia. Really exciting times. And again, $2.5 million for a center back. That's a legit fee, and it's a legit player. So well done by Orlando to get that done. Again, regardless of what was going to happen with McGuire, they want to bring in a forward. They have had talks with Luis Muriel for a DP option as center forward. Colombian international. Nothing is imminent there. They're still talking, but they're really not close. That might be a difficult one regardless. They have other options behind Muriel, aside Muriel. So they are going to add a center forward, and they are pretty close to being able to add a DP because they loaned out one of their U22 initiative signings. All they need to do now is buy down one of their 2 U22 initiative players to be able to have an unrestricted DP spot. So it doesn't need to be a young DP, doesn't need to be somebody under max TAM, which at the start of the offseason, I straight up just didn't think was on the table. So really well done by the front office to be able to maneuver and have this flexibility. The allocation money coming in from the McGuire deal will help that a lot because they need the allocation money to buy down a U22 initiative player. LAFC are in the market. They are finalizing a deal to sign highly rated Venezuelan youth international David Martinez. The 17-year-old, he turns 18 next week, so he can officially make the move, is currently at South American Olympic qualifying with Venezuela. That's a U23 tournament. The kid's 17. He's the biggest talent in Venezuela right now. Some people say he's, just about the biggest young talent to come out of the Venezuelan league. This fee could go north of $3.5 million depending on add-ons and everything else. But this would be the most expensive deal going out of Venezuela to a club abroad. Really well done by LAFC. It's a super exciting talent. They're continuing to reload. The Athletic reported, myself at The Athletic reported a few days ago, that they're finalizing a deal to re-sign Edward Atuesta. They've already announced the Athletic's previous reporting of signing Tomas Juan Pablo Angel's kid. So they're really adding to the team now after a bunch of departures, and LAFC's roster is really taking shape, and I'm really excited to see David Martinez in MLS. What else do we got? We got Josef Martinez on the verge of signing with CF Montreal, which is a big surprise. Sources told me and Felipe Cardenas of The Athletic this deal. Josef is a former MLS MVP, former MLS Cup winner, former MLS Cup MVP, absolute superstar in this league. He has not been the same since a knee injury robbed him of his burst, his athleticism. He still had 7 goals and 1 assist in 1,700 minutes last year with Inter Miami. He's a free agent. So look, it's not Josef of the past, and I don't know exactly how this is going to work out, but it's not a bad roll of the dice by Montreal. I'm surprised that Montreal are the team doing it. They have a lot of forwards. They don't, they just signed Mateus Cocoro from an Argentine club. He's a Uruguayan player. I'm really excited to see him. So Josef isn't guaranteed to start. I don't even think he's really likely to start. I mean, we'll see kind of how it goes. Laurent Courtois has plenty of options in Montreal. I really like this Montreal team. What they've done with Yankov and Kokoro this offseason. This is a really solid team with a lot of talented young players and a coach that I respect a ton out of. I have high hopes for this team. I think that they're going to be really fun to watch for, nothing, if nothing else. So, again, well done so far by Montreal. This deal is agreed, nothing done. He still needs to do a medical, and particularly with Josef's injury history, that's not necessarily a foregone conclusion. So let's just rest assured for this to get done. One more potential outgoing, Jairo Torres, Chicago Fire. He is currently still in Mexico. He is not in training with Chicago Fire, as there are talks for him to leave. Nothing is done there. I don't know which clubs they're talking to, but all parties want a resolution that sees Jairo Torres return to Mexico. The Mexican transfer window also ends today, so we'll see where that happens. Keep an eye on that. Jairo Torres not in training with Chicago Fire because he's staying in Mexico hoping for a move. Sticking with the Chicago Fire, I almost forgot. Club record deal of $12 million plus $2 million add-ons has been agreed for Belgian center forward Hugo Kuipers. This is a huge move. Chicago have been waiting to sign their DP number 9. They targeted Hugo Kuipers a while ago, and it was a complicated deal, a difficult deal to get him to leave Belgium to come to MLS. Deal's agreed. Deal's all set. Just need paperwork, all that stuff. Hugo Kuipers will be one of the most expensive transfers in MLS history. Let's see how it works out. If Jairo Torres leaves, they can add another DP, which they want to do to kind of revamp this attack under Frank Klopas with, Brian Gutierrez, Hugo Kuipers, maybe a new DP in Xherdan Shaqiri. So exciting times in Chicago. They're getting their deals done. It's been a little bit slow. I've been critical of them, but this deal for Hugo Kuipers is awesome, and let's see what else they've got cooking. Once here, a little bit boring. The news is to say that there's no news. First of all, Noel Buck, he is staying with the New England Revolution. There was a ton of interest in England, Club Brugge. These teams are still very interested in him, but no offers ultimately came to New England. Look, for a player of his age and his development, the summer window just makes more sense because, I could have seen a deal getting done, agreed, and then staying in New England until the summer anyway. But he's in an awesome spot. He's playing every week. He's an England U19 regular. The players on that team include Kobe Mainoo of Manchester United, Joe Bellingham, Jude's brother. Those are just a couple central midfielders that he's playing with. And, he's viewed at that level by England, which is really awesome. And the best thing for him right now is to continue playing and pick the correct transfer. Maybe in the summer, maybe next winter. We'll see. But Noel Buck staying in New England through this window. Another player, Sei Keita, he stays. Denis Bouanga of LAFC. Look, LAFC, we're insistent all offseason. He's staying. We love him. We want to keep him. If he's for sale, you got to pay us a whole lot of money. Denis Bouanga wants a new contract. Simple as that, right? The club and player have open talks for a new contract, which is a development. Nothing is imminent by any means. It's pretty early in those talks from what I know. And he's staying. Hopefully he'll be happy. Hopefully that deal gets agreed to keep their best player happy as LAFC continue their revolution. All right, folks, on that, I'm going to go back to my phone. I've recording this video. I don't know how long this is going to end up being because I have to keep on stopping. I don't know. What is it? 10 to 12 minutes, give or take, right? 4 different times I've gotten a phone call where I've had to pause and get up and walk away. 4 different times. And I don't know how many texts I've missed. I love this. I'm so happy. It's a lot of fun. I love being on my phone a whole lot. And I love all of this. I love going back and forth about Blackburn, whether they're in or out on a deal. This is great. Jokes aside, appreciate you guys coming by. Appreciate you guys listening to my nonsense. Let me ramble. Let me do all this crap. You guys are the real MVPs. Stick around for deadline day.